welcome back to the Queen Anne's County Board of Education for October 6th. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, do I have approval of the agenda?
I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Agenda is approved. We've had a chance to look at our work session minutes for September the 15th, open session. Has everybody had a chance to review those?
Mr. Smith, may I make a motion to approve the work session minutes for September 15th, 2021?
Have a second?
Second.
Open second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Okay, we have approval of work session minutes closed for September 15th.
Mr. Smith, may I make a motion to approve the work session minutes in closed session of September 15th, 2021?
Second.
A motion is second, any further discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Okay.
I'd like to announce what we're doing.
Oh, yeah, it's okay. She wants you to announce where we are.
What's the what?
Where we are on the.
Where we are on
Oh, I'm sorry. Shining, recognitions for Shining Star.
And energy.
Okay, with Shining Star, Energized Bunny, and Spirit Award.
Thank you.
Oh, but if I get too close to it.
What color?
Test. Good evening. So we have 3 awesome awards, and I asked Mr. Pinder to come up because he is the person who has recommended these 3 nominees for these awards. The first one is the Energizer Bunny, and this award is given to a staff member who volunteers, that's why I put my glasses on, who volunteers, who just keeps on going. And this is specifically sponsored by Bayview Financial with Mr. Chip Brittingham and Mr. Wayne Humphreys, who are not able to be here this evening. I'm going to give this to Mr. Pinder. Thank you. So I'd like to invite up Ms. Julie Hickey from Seduxo. This award is being presented to Julie, our food service manager. Julie is usually the first person to arrive at the central office and the last person to leave in the evening. I often have to tell Julie, "It's Friday, go home and enjoy your family," quoted from Mr. Sid Pinder. The pandemic threw all kinds of curveballs at Julie, and she always hit a home run adapting to the ever-changing needs of the school system. Julie organized and staffed the food distribution sites so students had the opportunity to receive breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It is not uncommon to see Julie preparing the meals when employees are out and then standing out in front of the schools distributing those meals to our students. Once students returned to the building, she adapted the procedures to ensure a smooth transition with breakfast and lunches being served inside the buildings. Mr. Pinder has never met a more dedicated employee, and nobody has any idea how she keeps her batteries always charged. This is why she is the epitome of the Energizer Bunny. She just keeps on going and going. So congratulations and thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, cheese. I don't know what the bunny equivalent is. Carrot?
That was a good one. Congratulations again. And I think you're the first one here, because I'm here pretty early too, and the last one to leave. So thank you so much for all your hard work.
Thanks.
Oh, you know what, Julie? Here's your certificate as well.
Thank you.
get the flag. That's all you get.
And our second award is the Shining Star Award. This award recognizes someone in our school system who shines. Again, Mr. Sid Pinder has nominated this person, so I'd like to invite up Ms. Donna Clow. This award is being presented to you, who Donna is our Administrative Secretary for Transportation Department. But please do not let Donna's title fool you. Donna is the heart and soul of the Transportation Department. For the past 42 years, Donna has been responsible for making sure that all of the students are on the correct bus routes, and she knows every road in Queen Anne's County like the back of her hand. Donna is a human version of Google Maps. When someone calls in and asks a question about an address, she does not have to look up the information in our transponder routing system. Within a split second, she rambles off the bus number, bus driver, and the stops that the bus makes. Having someone like Donna, who has the historical knowledge of all of the MSDE requirements and the COMA regulations, is very reassuring. During the first week of school, making sure that 7,500 students are on the correct bus and can be stressful at times, but Donna always shines above the situation and jumps in to make sure that the students are picked up and dropped off successfully. Donna is the shining star that never dims for over 42 years of service. So thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we have one more award. This is the Spirit Award, and this award is given to an individual who embodies the spirit of Queen Anne's County Public Schools. This award, under the direction of Mr. Sid Pinder, is nominated to Jolene Gottlieb. Gottlieb, sorry. It's good. I knew I would butcher it. So this award is presented to Jolene, who is the Administrative Secretary for the Operations Department. Over the years, Jolene has stepped up to take on more and more responsibilities and always meets the challenge. Jolene oversees the access controls for every school, handles the coordination of over 500 cameras within our buildings, handles all outside groups that use our buildings, prepares all the purchase orders for construction and repairs to every building, enters all of the web tickets, maintains the phone systems, and coordinates all inspections. I'm exhausted just reading it. These are just a few of the responsibilities that Jolene has taken over the years. With the retirement of our Supervisor of Transportation and Food Service, Jolene jumped in to make sure that our free and reduced meal program continues to work successfully. She has also helped out to make sure that the MSDE food service audits were completed on time. Jolene truly demonstrates the spirit of Queen Anne's County Public Schools, so thank you so very much.
Thank you all.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Julie. Congratulations, Julie.
Thanks, Mr. Pinder. That was wonderful.
Thank you. Those ladies do a lot.
Wow, I really am exhausted just thinking about how 3 of them are just so successful and so hardworking and dedicated.
They are.
Okay, moving on to board and staff involvement. Mark, anything?
Let's see. Don't forget that the faculty art show is still going on for 2 more days. I did get a chance to get down there at the right hour, and very impressed with the artwork, and it's really worth going down and seeing what our art teachers are doing. Constitution Day went down on September 17th. Great success. Thanks, Dr. Salins, for putting all that together. And Mr. Strait put out a video. It's on the website, I believe. You can access it there. Very fun to watch. So I recommend everybody take a look at that when you get a chance. And that's about it.
Helen or Tammy?
My month's been about sports. I've seen football and I've seen soccer, and I very much look forward to checking out all of the sports in the next few months. So it's been very exciting watching our student athletes. They're just amazing, enthusiastic, and talented. So I look forward to seeing more.
Mine's just about the county. The county finished up with September Goes Purple, County Goes Purple. They finished up with a big event last week. I was talking to Linda Friday from the chamber. And this month, of course, is breast, Cancer Awareness Month. Everybody reach out to families, remember those that have already gone past, and keep up with your physicals. So I know some of the other groups here in our school system are doing a few things for breast cancer awareness, and I really appreciate that.
Well, what I'd like to do is give a thanks to Michelle Morissette, our board member that was served with us for the last 3 years. She's taken another position which is in conflict of being a school board member, and has turned in her resignation, or whatever you want to say, to the governor's office. We're going to miss her. She was an added person to this board. It gave us a real balance, and I think all our board members enjoyed working with her immensely. And I know, Michelle, if you're looking in, you're probably missing us right now. Anyway, the Educational Code of Maryland states that the governor will appoint somebody to fill out Michelle's term. She's in District 1, which would be the northern part of our county. You go on, I think, at the Secretary of Government's Appointment Office. I think we're going to put that on our website.
We are.
We
We're
have that
gonna
on our
release something
website.
tomorrow.
So somebody can come out and see where you do to file. The qualifications are you have to be a resident of Queen Anne's County and be from District 1, which is the northern part of our county. But like I said, Michelle, best of luck, and it was a privilege serving with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. Dr. Salins?
Yes, I just have had the privilege to go, Sid and I, or Mr. Pender and myself, have had the privilege to go to start our school visits for the fall, and we've been to 9 schools. Those visits, we get into different classrooms to interact with students and staff members, and it's been just amazing, literally amazing to see our students kind of back in the swing of things, our staff members back in. And I know that you can't always see those smiles, but you can see the smiles in their eyes, and when you talk to them and say, hey, are you happy to be back to school? And they don't hesitate for a second. Yes, excited to be back at school. And so that's just been my highlight is those school visits the last month.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Hudak?
Yeah, I went to, it was held at Churchill Elementary School, but it was an event, and it was called We Are Family, and it was a combination of the Judy Center, Early Learning Center, and the Family Engagement Support Team. And it was the pre-K 3, 4, and up to kindergarten, and they had art projects and activities, and parents received resources, and they had an ice cream vendor there as well, who was a former Queen Anne's County graduate, who's Isaiah Dodd. So that was very nice that he was there and was able to serve the families. I wanted to bring you all up to speed also about the Safe Return Plan, as well as the Esther III application. We had submitted it, as you all knew, and we actually, we got the feedback, and we did very well. So requirement 4, 5, and 6, we only had 2 areas, actually 3 areas, one in each one of those that needed to be adjusted. And they also threw in a 12th requirement. As you remember, there were 11. So, and we didn't even do poorly on that one because they went in and dug some things out of the plan. But the 12th requirement surrounded quarantining students. So it was something that they found needed to be added. So we submitted that application and got results on September 29th. And it is conditionally approved, so everything went through and no revisions need to be made. Contingencies on that plan are once the baseline data is gathered, it will be included in the plan, as well as by February 1. If you remember, I said every 6 months we needed to review up until 2024. So that would be our first review. So once those are done, then the 2 conditions are lifted. So, and then I have the spotlight. So. So for our September spotlight, I have a lot of fun things in here. So this is in honor of the Queen Anne's County Goes Purple campaign. So each of the students at Bayside Elementary School signed a pledge, and they have a sample of the pledge, as well as some of them posted in the building. So it's about making healthy choices. Okay. A lot of Constitution Day showcases. This is Churchill Elementary School, where we had our very own Mr. Lance Richardson presenting to the fourth graders at Churchill. And then they also held their student elections on that day. Centerville Elementary School, they're just showcasing different things that they did to start off the school year, setting expectations, mission statements. Graysonville, again, more Constitution, so the Constitution Day, and the students are dressing up with their red, white, and blue. This one was very intriguing, and I'm not going to obviously read all of that, but if you ever get a chance to read the book, The Dot, it's very creative, very cute, uplifting, but it's an inspirational book, and then all of the staff and students wore clothes with polka dots. Ken Island Elementary School, again, this being the sister school with Bayside, they also did the promises surrounding Queen Anne's County Goes Purple. Mattapique Elementary, Constitution Day. So we had a lot of representation for Constitution Day. CES. Students wrote their own constitution. Centerville Middle School, showing their purple for Queen Anne's County Goes Purple. And Mattapique Middle, displaying their spirit for schools reopening. Stevensville Middle, the zones of regulation. So this is a curriculum designed to foster the self-regulation and emotional control. So it's coming out of our student support. Sudlersville Middle, so the growth mindset, mistakes are expected, inspected, and respected. It's kind of coming from Mr. Watkins being of math mind. That's kind of his mantra. And then, which is very cool, the strings. They have several different instruments, and at no cost to the students, they're learning to play different string instruments. Both high schools are showcasing their teams. I'm not sure what you would call that, 65-0. That's quite a score.
Kind of big.
And Ken Island High School, theirs was, I guess, a little bit more competitive, 28-21. They all look good. And then the last part, and then there is one extra piece, but a lot of the Queen Anne's County Goes Purple. Everyone's showcasing their t-shirts, different departments, different schools submitted pictures. Different schools, there's Dr. Salins. And the next, here's the art show that Mr. Schiffinelli referenced. You can see some of the pieces for those that didn't get to see the exhibit. And that is Mr. Bell's on the bottom left. He had his. You can't really see. I believe there are streets in there. Is that what you saw, Mr. Schiffinelli? Yeah, the streets, I
Yeah,
think, of New
that's
York
city
City.
block.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And the horses, if I remember. I thought this was very, very profound. So this is, I guess Julie submitted this.
Yes.
So fall of 19, we were normal. That was pre-COVID. And for breakfast served, right now, we are 50% increase in the amount of breakfasts that are being served to our kids, and lunches, 28% increase. I thought that was very profound. So, which is great.
When I say 40,000, is that how many we've served so far this year, or? Okay.
For the month of,
Okay, September.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's a lot.
and that's the end of the showcase. The spotlight.
That was awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we have, anything else? She's finished.
Yes,
Okay, we have our student board reports. Mr. Park from Ken Island. Would you like to come up to the mic, or you?
Yeah, I can do it over there.
I'll move out of your way. I'll come back over to you. Let me wipe up here.
There's no mics right there.
Okay, so this week has
Good
been...
evening, sir.
Good evening. So this week has been really exciting and busy for Ken Island because we have our homecoming events this week and this weekend. So currently we're in the middle of Spirit Week, which is essentially like themed days designed by SGA. So Monday was Country vs. Country Club. Tuesday was Tropical Tuesday. Today was Way Back Wednesday. Tomorrow is going to be Jersey Day, and Friday is Class Color Day. And then we're going to wrap Spirit Week up with the pep rally in the middle of the day Friday. And then we have the homecoming dance Friday night. And we have the homecoming dance Friday night, and then we have the parade and the football game on Saturday. Also along the lines of the football team, Coach Ferragamo got his 100th win last Friday against Y High, and he's the Ravens Coach of the Week, which has resulted in $2,000 to the Ken Island High School football program. Also, our fall testing has concluded, except for like a few lingering students. So they're essentially catching up on the standardized testing that they missed from the circumstances last year. We're going to administer the PSAT at Ken Island on October 26th. That's going to be to mainly sophomores and juniors. Additionally, the drama auditions and workshops for The Little Mermaid, which is our spring musical, is starting up now. And I also just wanted to say that we've been taking advantage of the breakfast and lunch a lot, obviously. Like I know me and all my friends who didn't previously get lunch from the school are now doing it, so, yep, that's all.
Not a fall play this year, Mr. Park? There's no fall?
I don't think so. I haven't heard anything about it, because I think normally they prepare for that a little bit at the end of the last year.
So there isn't one, okay.
Yeah.
Who do you play for homecoming?
I'm pretty sure Parkside.
Parkside?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Nice job.
I'll do that. You go ahead.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Mr. Pender, are you going to?
I'm going to fill in for Brett. I get to go back 30 years to be back in high school again, so.
Were you wearing the right mask?
I did. I wore it for Brett. Brett is in a cross-country meet tonight down in Salisbury, so he's unable to attend, but he did prepare some information for me to share with you. Queen Anne's County High School had a very busy week last week with all the homecoming festivities. It started on Monday with Spirit Week. Each day you had a chance to show your school pride by participating if you chose to. For example, one day was wear our school colors, green and gold. Later in the week on Thursday, we had our Powder Puff game. And then on Friday, we had our pep rally during school, a parade through Centerville with various floats. At night, we had our varsity football game, which, by the way, Queen Anne's County won against James and Bennett. The week concluded on Saturday with our homecoming dance. We also had state testing last week, and Q1 progress reports for grades were sent out. On October 4th, the flu mist was given to those who were signed up. The tent that I had mentioned at the last board meeting, which is set up in the courtyard for extra seating for lunch shifts, has also been very successful during its time of use. For sports today, cross-country varsity boys and girls had a meet at Winter Park, which is in Salisbury. Boys soccer, both JV and varsity, have a game against James and Bennett. JV field hockey had a game at Queen Anne's against Ken Island High School. Tomorrow on October 7th, the girls and boys golf have a tournament at Queenstown Golf Links. Both JV and varsity volleyball have games at North Carolina High School, and JV football plays at Queen Anne's County High School Lions Stadium against Easton High School. And on Friday, October 8th, both JV and varsity field hockey will have games against Dover High School at Queen Anne's County High School Stadium. Plus varsity football will have a game against Easton, and it will be played at Easton. Lastly, a couple of upcoming events in October. On October 13th, from 6 to 7:30 p.m., Chesapeake College will be doing a Money for College night in the cafeteria. Jostens will be at Queen Anne's County High School on October 22nd during lunch shifts for an in-school order day for cap and gowns. You can, of course, order them online too. And on October 28th at 9:45 a.m., Chesapeake College will be at school for a spring info session. This will be for dual enrollment.
Okay.
Thanks, Brett. Good luck to you.
Thank you. And good luck for him today in this meet.
Does anyone know where Queen Anne's County is at the high school? I think it's the PTA. They're selling those tickets to try to get an electronic scoreboard. Does anyone know like where they might be?
No, I can ask and get that information for you, but I'm not aware of
Yeah,
it.
and I just was wondering if they were meeting their goal yet. So
I'm not aware.
nice endeavor.
You said scoreboard, right?
Yeah, they're trying to get an electronic scoreboard. So if you want a golf cart, I think they only have 350 tickets or something. They're selling for $50 each. But
Oh, that's Ken Island High School.
oh, is it Ken Island?
Ken Island High School's
Need
doing
the
it, yeah.
electronic. Okay, all right.
For the softball field, right?
I don't have any updates.
It's for the softball.
All right,
field.
sorry.
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay.
That's all right.
Well, the golf cart's the same.
No problem.
Okay, our next will be citizens participation. Do we have anybody signed up?
Mr. McNeil.
Okay.
It's not you.
Yeah, okay. I'm not. Thank you, Amy. You gonna read the,
I need to read it,
yes, sir.
right?
Especially for this one.
We ask all speakers to keep in mind the following guidelines. Speakers should sign the roster, including their telephone number and address. Comments should be limited to 3 minutes in length. Comments longer than 3 minutes should be submitted in writing. Questions or statements to the board should relate to a matter of general policy over which the board has authority. Comments about actions or statements of individual staff members are not appropriate for public comment and should be referred to the superintendent of schools or the board president. If you have a specific question, the board will make sure an appropriate staff member responds to your question. The board respects your desire and your right to convey your message freely, but asks as a courtesy to the board and our citizens to show respect for all.
Just state your name and address just for the record. Yeah, feel free.
Good evening, Richard McNeil, and I'm representing myself and the Queen Anne's County Retired School Personnel Group. Just a quick comment, behind a lot of programs, you see ladies like these three ladies here who make things happen, and they're not on the forefront, they're not out there with the sports teams, and they're not making noise, but things don't happen. I've known Donna for a long, long time, and I wouldn't want her job to design bus routes. She does a great job, and everybody does that. There's a lot of people behind the scenes, and I just wanted to say thank you for them and for recognizing them. That's good that way. Our retirement group had a I don't have to go to school breakfast on the first day of school. We had a wonderful time. We had almost 30 people show up at Denny's. I have to give a shout out to Denny's because if you've been in there, there's not a room by itself. They were very efficient, and we just had a good 2.5, 3 hours. We couldn't get people to go home. We celebrated with some most recent retirees and then several of us who have been retired for more than a long time. So that's good. We are planning to get back to normal as best possible. We have our first fall meeting that we haven't had in over 2 years this coming Tuesday. Dr. Salins, we thank you. We invited you, and anybody else. Let us know if you're not getting our email newsletter. We want to make sure that you're keeping up with us as much as anything else, and we just hope for that. I'd like to make a couple of comments. As a father, I had to learn how to say no to my children when I thought activities that they wanted was not in their best interest. As a teacher, I had to say no sometimes when certain actions were unacceptable. As a principal, I had to say no to SGA activities, parents and/or teacher requests when it was not in the best interest of students. Saying no is not easy, but sometimes saying no is important for the benefit of the children and the staff of schools. In my opinion, you as a board have to say no sometimes to community requests, even though you're elected by the community. In my opinion, your job is to do what's right for the children and the staff and not do just what the community wants. And that's my opinion on that. And I appreciate the work that you have to do, some of the pressures about wearing a mask and not wearing a mask and getting vaccinated and not getting vaccinated. These are tough times. Thank you for your indulgence on that. And thank you for serving for the community and the students of Queen Anne's County. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're invited Tuesday also, if you've got time.
All I have signed up. Is there anybody else who would like to speak? Do we have anybody virtual?
Don't try to recruit her into retiring. We just got her. Don't go there.
Okay, moving on. Informational items. COVID-19 update metrics.
Yes, so Amy's gonna, Mrs. Hudock's gonna go ahead and put that up on the screen for us. Thank you. So board, you can see the progression here of our numbers, and unfortunately, we're kind of just really hanging out above 20. If we could just get to that below 20 range for 5 to 7 days, I think that we can start trying to make some different decisions as it relates to quarantining, as it relates to some of the different activities that, have been restricted, such as volunteers coming in the building and things like that. So unfortunately, we're just kind of hanging out right there. And my hope is that as we move through October, that those numbers will start to come down a bit. I will tell you that I know the board has asked several times about testing and testing within our schools. So when we do have to quarantine a student, instead of them having to go out and try to find, or a staff member have to find an opportunity to test within the community, which has been a challenge, we've worked with Mr. Matt Evans and our new employee, Mrs. Michelle Morset, who is our new supervisor of health services. So we've worked together, the three of us, and we were able to contract with a company called Mako, and they will be able to do 2 what I would consider like clinics each week on either end of the district at various hours that are kind of even sometimes may fall outside of the normal school day for students and staff members to be tested. But over and above, we've also developed a relationship with the Maryland Health Department so that we can test in every single school. Our school nurses have that capacity to do that. They also have the capacity to train other staff members within the building. So in their absence, we could actually test students right there at the school level. And so I think that's a positive move. We were able to obtain some test kits already, and we should be clear and good to go by next week to start that process in the schools. Of course, it would be with parent permission only. And for those students, obviously focusing in on students and staff that may be in a situation where they would be quarantined. So I don't know if you have any questions for me.
It hit me personally because of my grandchildren. One was quarantined because I guess she was in close contact with somebody. Her mother had the other one tested. So now we'll be able to have the children tested at school.
Yes,
so
sir.
she wouldn't have to go somewhere outside.
Yes, that's
and
correct.
my understanding is but she goes to school too, but it can only be either staff, bus drivers, only people that are either employed or students that will be tested.
Yes, that's correct. It's not considered a community opportunity, unfortunately, as much as we would want to extend that out at this time. We don't have the capacity to do that.
But they can test, because I think what came up a lot was, there are other activities as far as basketball, field hockey,
Correct.
soccer, and, they're quarantined, which just because they're in close contact, and but they don't know, so they can get tested and say, no, I'm negative.
Correct.
Then they could
Then
still
they
have to work their quarantine through the school, but they.
Well, they wouldn't have to, though.
They could come
That's the
right back
thing. If we
directly?
can get, that's right, if we can get it back right directly, then, and Matt, please feel free to jump in, Mr. Matt Evans, who has really been working closely with the various partners, as I said, between the Maryland Health Department and MACO.
Good evening, President Smith, Dr. Salins, board members, executive team. For the record, I'm Matt Evans, Supervisor of Student Services. Yes, so we're excited that the Maryland Department of Health will provide us test kits for free. We'll send them here and we'll distribute them amongst the schools to start with school nurses to provide testing to students and staff. The MACO Medical, the other big piece besides them providing the rapid response team, is they also provide us with a platform for parents and staff members to register and provide consent. So that's all centralized and really kind of takes a lot of the work off our staff with having to put out consent forms and collect them and things like that. So that's a big piece as well. And that program, again, that's funded through MSD and MDH. So once they contract with us, they bill the state and not us.
Just for information for the parents and myself, because I'll probably get questions from my own family. Everybody any student has to have consent of their parents.
Correct. If they're under 18, correct.
If they're under 18, so that's our school system. Is there a way to log in to our system to give that consent electronically? Or is it so the parent, and we're going to have something on our website that, or not be?
Yes, absolutely. I would anticipate we could send the link out to all families, but have it on our website, have it on all school websites. And the way it was presented to us was it was just that simple. They would simply register, and part of their registration, they're providing consent for their child if they're under 18.
And it's a legal thing where they know who's sending it back. I mean, there's
Correct.
a portal that you have to have a key to or a code or something, or.
That is correct. And they actually, and they partner with the lab. All of these results and everything, it's I guess, follows HIPAA regulations and FERPA, but all that data is kept. So we're able to keep track too of like how many students or staff have tested, what's the positivity rate, things like that.
If we get, personally, and it's certainly the superintendent's decision, I'd like to get that sent out and get it to people and our students and families as soon as possible, because if we can, kids need to be in school, and this being out for 7 to 10 days is not good.
Agreed.
If we can stop that.
Yes, and it's called Test and Stay is what kind of the title is, so that the student can test and show a negative result and then be able to stay in school. So I know, as I said, we have the test, we have some test kits. I mean, we don't have a lot right now, but we have some test kits, and we anticipate that we will be able to start on Monday in some way, shape, or form capacity and build it from there.
That's correct. So we're waiting for MACO Medical. We reached out today and said we would like to get this going ASAP. And really the big thing is that platform, so we can get that link out, as you had said, and start allowing parents to register and provide consent.
So each school will have its own website out on that, which
It will be centralized, but that's part of the registration. You're saying what school.
Okay.
So there may be a little bit of training on our part that we'll need when we get access to that platform, but I would imagine we should be able to get that rolling very soon.
within a week, and then probably full stream in 2 weeks or something like that, we hope.
That's my hope.
It sounds a positive thing.
Yeah.
Any other board members have? No? Nobody? Okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Evans.
Finish that one. Board Education new building update.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Salins, and executive team. For the record, my name is Carla Pullen. I'm the facilities planner, Queen Anne's County Public Schools. And as you mentioned, I'm here to tell you this evening some updates about the new Board of Education Central Office building. If you'll recall, we've been working toward the start of the design for that building. The proposed site is directly across the street from Queen Anne's County High School. It's situated on Vincent Street in the town of Centerville. It's right in front of the new county building and the YMCA here in Centerville. We were allotted $2 million for the architecture and engineer planning, and the commissioners allotted that during their fiscal year 2022 budget process. The RFQ to find that design team has been posted. The pre-proposal conference for that will happen next Wednesday here at our board office, and responses will then be due to us on Wednesday, October 20th. So if there are any firms, anyone who is watching that's interested in submitting, the solicitation is posted on the Queen Anne's County Public Schools website. It is under both the procurement page and under construction for current solicitations. It's also available publicly on eMaryland Marketplace. Once we get those responses to us on the 20th, we'll review them first for the qualifications that the firm has for like projects, and then the committee is going to look to shortlist 3 to 5 firms that will be interviewed. After we look at those selected applicants and interview them, that's when we'll start to talk about their cost to do the work. We hope that we'll be able to make a recommendation for the selection of the firm and bring that to you on or before November 17th, which is the work session in November. In other relevance to this project, the county government has started a committee to take a look at what will happen to this existing building after the Board of Ed vacates. The group met here for the first time last evening. Mr. Pinder was able to give them a tour to let them see the condition of
That came up of how it can be utilized. I learned more about the building than I thought I ever knew by some of the alumni that were here to let me know where everything was at. So
Was and where, huh?
it was interesting, yeah.
Ms. Pullen, can I ask, will there be a building committee for the new Board of Ed building?
Yes,
Like we've always had in
absolutely.
past building committees?
Yes, as soon as we get an AE firm on board, we'll come up with a selection committee that will be a group of staff, a group of community members, a group of some of our elected officials, so that everyone is able to have some input on what that building looks like.
So in the projected timeline, remind me to at least break ground, 2023?
We would love to be able to do that after the next fiscal year begins. So funding will not be available, if all goes well, until after July 1st of next year. So that's the earliest we could hope to do that. We anticipate that once we get a firm on board, it's going to take us about 6 to 9 months to get through that design process.
Right.
The variables here are kind of the outside planning review and just how long that will take. So some of our community partners, the town of Centerville, will be working very closely with them because the building will be located within town limits. And so we want to give them ample time to review everything and make sure that it fits their standards too.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
In follow-up with what Sid said, I was talking to a county people today, and the meeting seemed to go, had some innovative ideas last night. It's a long way. And I think the county's also looking, securing some extra funding to do some, like the roof and some window issues that would help stabilize this building. I want to make everybody know this is a safe building. It's not, it's dated. It's at 1900. We've been here 50 years. Got some issues with ADA and stuff, but it's a sound building. And I think the county, along with the town and interested citizens, we're going to find something to do to keep this building operative. And I think we'll all be a part of that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Okay, expenditure report.
Good evening, President Smith, Dr. Salins, board members. Tonight we're bringing before you the September 30th expenditure report, along with Esther II funding report. Do you have any questions?
I think I know the answer. But on the second page, category 6 special education, one of our categories, we're already down 162%, which I understand with special ed, one or two placements can really, and I know last month we allocated quite a few placements. I mean, as you see it going out through the years, are there any major issues we have right now? I mean, I know every year special ed's a major concern with the financing of it, but do we have any major concerns yet?
This is with a speech therapist. So instead of employee, we had to go through contracted services. So if the trend is for the rest of the year, then we would just do a budget adjustment from salaries to contract.
So that could be from salaries to contract services?
Correct.
Okay. Any other board members have any questions? We're early into it.
I see where the budget's at 77.85% spent, so that's, I mean, that's going through the whole year or up to this date?
That is through year to date, but it includes 15 too as well.
Okay. I just looked at that last number and like, do we have any money left?
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, you're using all your salaries and all that sort of thing.
That's
Plugged
all.
in.
Comfort, yeah. Right, so budget is 100 million, expended to date 13 million, the outstanding encumbrance is 64, which encumbrances a lot of your salary.
Got it.
No other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Jane, did you want to talk at all about the ESSER? It was on here, I didn't know.
Oh, okay. We're going to bring it before each month. Next month, we have Esther III now, too. So Esther II, what we have attached is we're waiting on official notification from MSCE on our budget amendment. So this is just a nice spreadsheet that shows what the amendment was and why there was a change. We reviewed it last time, but we thought it was important to show the dollar amounts to that as well for your review.
And that's out of the, this doesn't include the $6 or $7 million.
No, this is
This is the one. This is the one we have already on the books.
Correct. The one that was awarded for a little over $3 million. At Esther II, we tend to focus more on the social distancing aspect, where the cafeteria tables, desks, chairs, COVID supplies, things like that.
And thank you for that email laying all of the different companies that we're doing business with and where it was allocated, so I appreciate that.
Of course. Thank you.
Board members were scheduled for a break, but I'm keeping going. Everybody all right for that?
Good with that.
Okay, action items, human resource and bus drivers report you had to go over.
Mr. Smith, may I make a motion to accept the human resource and substitute bus driver report as presented in closed session?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. 9:02, PowerSchool. That is Jane.
Me again already.
You might as well stay there.
Yeah, we got it. We can make it.
Tonight we bring before you the annual contract for our accounting software, which is PowerSchool, SunGuard, eFinance. Initially, years ago when it came out, it was known as SunGuard. Over the years, PowerSchool has really kind of gobbled up a lot of the K-12 educational platforms to include our eFinance. So this is the annual maintenance that we have on it. It also includes HR module as well as our fixed asset module, and it really encompasses the reports that we are required to do, such as our staffing reports for Maryland and things like that. So we seek approval for this for $92,386.72.
Mr. Smith, may I make a motion to approve the, let me do the motion.
No, I don't want to make a motion and ask a question.
Okay. Make a motion to approve the PowerSchool eFinance Plus purchase, fiscal impact dollar amount of $92,386.72. Budget sources FY 2022 unrestricted budget.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion?
I did have a quick question. So what was it last? Is it consistent each year? Is it going up a certain percentage each year?
Usually their standard is anywhere between 2.5% and 3%. And to give you an idea, they've really taken over as far as K-12 software. All the districts on the shore actually now use CECL, is now incorporating in eFinance and PowerSchool, the software program too as well.
Thank you.
I remember this being like 80,000 back in 2015. So yeah, it's definitely going up.
Do we look at other companies periodically, or?
It would be a massive overhaul to do such, and really the competitors, there's really none out there. They've really kind of taken over the market because it's so specialized, and because of the reporting requirements that we have. We now have ESSA reporting, which now PowerSchool and e-finance also helps us in that reporting as well for Maryland State Retirement. And in looking at other vendors, there's really none that offer any that we can utilize here for Maryland type reporting.
Do we have anything that would limit them from going up 5% or 10% if it starts becoming a monopoly, if there's no other vendors? Is there anything in place that we have for percentages that they're allowed to go up each year?
Their standard has been 2.5%, 3%. I can look into see and maybe if we can lock in for 5 years to see if we can maybe do that type of contract with them, lock in at a certain price or maybe a certain increase every year. I can look into that for going forward for next year.
Thanks.
Considering we have a history with them, I don't know why they wouldn't.
Definitely.
Is the whole Eastern Shore pretty much use them?
Yes, Cecil is just coming out on board now.
When we talk to the consortium or whoever our group is, that might be an idea to do a 3 or 5 year, if we're going to be with them and we know it's going to be 3 or 5 years, could we get, some kind of,
So as a group and group
more
pricing.
favorable rate and say, look, we're willing to, sign up for 3 or 5 years, but we're also willing, we'd like to set to seeing these rates, not increased as much, if possible.
Definitely,
And maybe you could talk to your other counterparts
I
on
was
the
going to say, I
shore.
can bring it up at ESMAC and talk to the superintendents as a whole, but, I mean, PowerSchool, they have been good to us.
Please, I'm not, don't even think that I'm not talking
Yeah, I mean,
about
I
them as a
definitely
company.
appreciate your comment, but they really have designed reports that help us to meet state expectations that we couldn't all do on our own, especially being so small. So they really have been good to us, and anytime we have any concerns, they are right on it, and they really have gobbled up everybody else that was a competitor. They've literally taken over, so.
Yeah, they
But
probably
I
save
think
us.
that's an excellent idea, and I will absolutely put it on our ESMAC agenda to discuss, to try to get a multi-year contract for the Eastern Shore.
And, the requirements that we're required to report, as Tammy said, it was 80, now it's 92, but you miss 1 or 2 reports to do something or have to hire somebody.
Yeah, that's true.
That could be eaten up pretty quickly, but, thinking outside the box, if we could just, see any contract, if it's something you feel comfortable that we're going to have and bring to the board, give us an option of looking at 1 year or 5 years, because, they need to make money, we need to save money.
Sounds good.
I have a motion and a second. Any more questions? All those in favor, aye? Aye. Aye, ayes have it. Okay, leaning forward, content special coaching. That is
Jolene Smith.
Good evening, President Smith, Dr. Salins, board members, executive team. For the record, my name is Jolene Smith. I'm the supervisor of special education. I bring before you this evening a contract for Learning Forward. It is a content-based coaching contract for 20 participants and 2 support personnel from the Board of Ed in central office in the amount of $31,300. This is coming from the FY20 restricted operating budget, which is actually associated with a state systemic improvement plan grant that we've had for the past 4 years, and this is kind of the final stage of that grant.
Mr. Smith, may I make a motion to approve the contract for Learning Forward coaching contract period September 30th, 2020 through May 30th, 2022, fiscal impact dollar amount of $31,300, budget source FY20 restricted operating budget.
Second.
So I have a question. We've been using this all this time?
No. We actually haven't started yet. We just secured the invoice in September, and it's coming before you. It hasn't actually been approved just yet.
So why is the contract period just September 30th, 2020 instead of 2021?
That is a typo, sorry.
Thank you. Okay, so we can amend the motion to say 2021. Thank you.
And the budget would do the same thing as FY20, so it'll be FY20.
FY21 operating budget?
No, it's actually, this does come from an FY20 grant.
Okay.
Grant.
The grant,
It's not coming,
restricted
it's not coming
operating,
out of operating budget.
Correct.
restricted operating budget. Okay. So part of the motion, would you please change that to September 30th of 2021, still saying FY20 restricted operating budget? Thank you for the clarification, Ms. Smith.
You kept saying operating, but you said grant.
Well,
It
it's
is from the
restricted.
restricted.
It's restricted.
Okay,
so
gotcha,
that's
okay.
grant funded.
Gotcha, okay, I'm sorry.
So it's grant funded but restricted, but it's money that was not spent in FY20.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a motion, I have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Jane, you're back.
And this one's Mr. Evans.
Who Evans?
Nah.
Although she signed it.
Naviance license.
Good evening again, Matt Evans, Supervisor, Student Services. Before you is the Naviance contract, which is a grade 6 through 12 career development platform. As the career development is an expectation for all students in all grades. Also, school counselors at the high school use this when they're submitting college applications, when they're submitting the letters of recommendation, transcripts, and things like that. This initially was is a yearly invoice for a 5-year contract that we entered into in 2018. And interestingly, this was also acquired by PowerSchool just within the past year.
Mr. Smith, may I make a motion to accept the contract for the Naviance licensed school counseling platform? Fiscal impact dollar amount of $44,234.12. Budget source FY22, unrestricted budget source, guidance software. Question, why don't we have a contract now for 5 years?
Let's get a second.
Second.
Sorry,
Second.
I apologize. Thank you, sir. Why don't we have a 5-year contract on this?
So what originally I saw was entered into in 2018, and it was a 5-year contract where I guess the prices were in fact fixed, and then they bill us an invoice yearly.
Right. Because we've had Naviance since 2011?
Been around for a while.
2010?
Definitely 2011, 2010.
Yes. And I remember it being like a 3-year contract at that time, so why are we, can we get back into it?
So we're in this is year 4, I believe, of the 5-year
Okay.
contract.
And it goes up how much?
After this 5-year contract, I'm not sure. The prices have been fixed.
Okay.
5 years.
Right.
Okay.
I do have a question about the career development piece. So it seems as if we are helping our high school seniors with their applications for colleges. Are we doing anything for our career path seniors?
Yes, absolutely, and you can see it's the college and career readiness curriculum, and really what starts.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes, so what starts in middle school really is they start with interest inventories and kind of see where the interest might lie, and then it links with careers. And this stores that information, and as they're progressing through middle school and they're actually creating a 5-year plan, what classes they might take, what pathway they're looking at in the high school, which could be heading toward college, or it could be going into the world of work or some other post-secondary training.
But it's saying that it helps them with their college applications. So I'm wondering, what are we doing for our career students who are they helping them apply for internships? Are they helping them plug them into, what are they doing for the career at the end of the...
Okay, understood. And actually, just to clarify, it's the Naviance eDocs. That's what's used to be able to the counselors. And this apparently is a huge game changer, so they can submit those transcripts and what have you to colleges. The other piece, as far as assisting students with career choices, and I know, in fact, I just met with the guy today, and he will be doing an in-service with our counselors on October 15th at Chesapeake College all day. But ultimately, even now that we're doing the internships and the what's Mr. Tolley's program, the PTE, but it's apprenticeships. Yes, the apprenticeship program. We can actually post all of that in Naviance, so high school students can see these opportunities if they're interested. And again, when counselors and teachers at times are doing career development activities, it is not just focused on college, right?
So we are posting in Naviance, we are doing that currently with...
Yes, well, that's a new feature about the apprenticeships, but yes, yes.
yes, we're doing it, or we're going to be doing it for the.
Doing it for internships, but we just acquired the apprenticeships this, well,
Okay, and
we didn't just start the apprenticeships this year, but we got disrupted because of COVID. So Adam has written a grant, Adam Talley, Mr. Talley, who's supervisor of CTE programs, he wrote a special grant just to promote, kind of reintroduce the apprenticeships, and we have been kicked off and running. So that is now going in there for the first time this year.
But the grant wasn't through Naviance, and the October 15th, is that a part of Naviance, or that's just something?
So that's my professional development I'm doing with all K through 12 counselors, but for 6 through 12, we're really focusing on career development with Naviance and making sure they understand the updates, how to use it, and that we are using it properly.
Thank you.
Point well taken that maybe the statement needs to be expanded next time for the next year when we, to include what we do with the career tech and with our students who, as it relates to internships and apprenticeships. So point well taken, we'll expand that statement next year.
And now that the students are back in school, I can remember that the guidance counselor, the guidance office used to post internships, apprenticeships, job opportunity, all on the walls, on the windows. Are they doing that still?
Yes.
Okay.
They are, and again, that's kind of a new feature from what my contact at Naviance says, that they are expanding that within the Naviance platform. So students could be at home and they might log in to do an assignment that was assigned to them regarding career development, and they can look and see different opportunities that are out there immediately in the area here.
That's great.
That's for administrative stuff, so then, like, we're year 4. So when do you guys start looking at, and we're year 4 or 5, when do you have to start looking at negotiating a contract again? How far back, how far out do you have to be when you guys start looking at this? That's what sounds like a lot of work.
There's no set time frame. We don't have it. I think it really depends on the company and how long you've had the relationship with the company, and for that matter, the relationship that when Mr. Evans goes out and he meets with his colleagues on their agenda items, a lot of times they discuss different things. What are you doing with Naviance, or what other platforms? And that's how we get ideas from each other colleagues to determine different pathways. I don't think there's a set time frame, but certainly, as you enter into your last year of the contract, you're going to obviously be looking at very early on in that year so that you can make sure to get something approved by that spring.
Are there other companies besides Naviance?
This is certainly the dominant one, and I feel confident saying that all the counties on the shore use this, including on the other side of the bridge. Again, I know it's one of the few platforms that where counselors, schools are able to use, that where the college board and those common applications can accept things coming through Naviance, the letters of recommendation, transcripts, etc.
We didn't have this with my first daughter when she graduated in 2009, but we had it with my second daughter. It first got introduced, and it just changed. It was a game changer.
Yes, and our most seasoned counselor at the high school, at Queen Anne's County High School, he always says that. That really changed things when we could use this to submit.
So it would behoove us to look into maybe keeping them and keeping the contract down.
Yeah.
When you talk to your colleagues, every system's not on the same 5-year contract we are.
No, and they might not, and they might have more features that they're paying for or less, depending on the county.
But with your interacting with other systems, I would think you have a barometer of what's changing and not changing, as far as even our plate might be coming up in our 5th year. You can see they're not going to jump us if they hadn't jumped everybody else. And it's a partnership. I mean, they're a business, and they provide a service, and if they're doing a good service, we want to keep doing it. But I don't think it's just like, I'm assuming when you talk to other schools and they're all going, they're not going to say 2, 2, 2, and then all of a sudden jump somebody 10. I wouldn't think.
I wouldn't think so either, but I will definitely
keep an eye on it.
That I'm communicating with other counties, other systems.
It is an excellent tool there.
Okay, we have a motion, a second discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Okay. This is a good one. Who's coming up for this one?
Ms. Pullen would love to volunteer for this.
Yeah, Miss Pullen's like hanging in the back.
What did you say, Sid? You're going to get a glass of water?
Oh, good evening once again. So for the record, Carla Pullen, Facilities Planner, and I'm here this evening to discuss with you and to ask your approval for our request for fiscal year 2023 for our CIP funding. And if you would indulge me for just 1 minute, I want to run through exactly what the capital improvement plan is and why it's important. So this evening, I just want to outline what it is, tell you how it's calculated, tell you what happens when in this funding process, and tell you what we're anticipating and what we're asking for fiscal year 2023. If you remember back in the spring, I brought to you the Educational Facilities Master Plan. That's the first part of this state funding process when we ask for construction funding. So that's the one where we look at a long-range plan, we look at our yearly updates, our enrollment projections, and the facility needs. Now we step up to the capital improvement plan, and we're looking at the funding requests for this upcoming fiscal year. So yes, we are starting our budget process again already. So we look at what we need to accomplish the projects that we want to do this year. We establish some timelines for that, and then we prioritize what projects need to happen first and second. The types of projects we look at: age and building condition. We look at major capital projects, which are more than $200,000, and those are eligible for state funding. And then we have minor capital projects, which are under $200,000, and they're only funded locally. So those requests will go to the commissioners in their next budget cycle. The CIP program is in COMAR. We're required, if we want to use state funding, to submit in this process, and our Board of Ed is required to approve that plan. So it is all part of that COMAR discussion. There is a state cost share formula. So the state provides 51% of eligible construction costs to Queen Anne's County for our projects. The county then pays for 49%. It is usually not that clean of a split because there are many things in a construction project that are not eligible for that state funding, so it has to be picked up by the county government. The way that the state determines what that split is, it's a formula, but it has to do with free and reduced lunch percentages in our county, unemployment rates in our county, the per capita income, and also our population growth. When we look at how funding is calculated for each of our projects, they look at enrollment first, then they allot a state square foot number for each student, and that tells us what the eligible project size is. Once we have the building size, there is also a state cost per square foot that's allotted, and that gives us our eligible construction cost. That will become very important to us as we start to look at major projects like Centerville Middle School in a couple of years. Our schedule: first we have the Educational Facility Master Plan, now we have the CIP. July is typically when we ask for that approval in the Educational Facility Master Plan. October, where we are right now, is when we look at our CIP. And then in March is when we turn in our county government budget submission. For capital funding, we are usually 1 to 2 years in advance of a construction project. So it takes us about 1 to 2 years to get the planning together and to make sure that we're ready to break ground when that construction funding becomes available to us. Fiscal year 2023, what we are hoping to ask for this year is the roof replacement at Queen Anne's County High School. It is budgeted right now at over $9 million, so that 51% of that will be by the state, 49% from the county. We have been in very close contact with our roofing suppliers, with our roofing inspectors, and we are closely watching budgets because we have a number of roof projects that are waiting to be completed. Construction costs have doubled within the last year. It's a concern that everyone is watching. It's a concern that the state understands about. And what we could hope is that this is the worst case scenario, and that as we start to plan this project, the costs will come down. Again, we will continue to watch because double the cost of a roof as to what it was a year ago, I think is a hard pill for everyone to swallow. So I want to put that out there that we'll continue, as with all of our projects, to watch where we are in the market, where we are with supply chain issues, and try to adjust our timelines so that we're hitting those marks at a little bit of a better time to bid. So the priorities this year, of course, would be for our roof replacement at Queen Anne's County High School. We are entering into a feasibility study this year for Centerville Middle School. And so those are the two that we are letting the state know about. There is no funding request for that feasibility study at the state level. They just ask us to let them know several years ahead of time what we are planning to ask them for so they can begin their time frame and the allotment. We look at classifications for our projects kind of in this order. We look at life safety first. We look at the building envelope, which also can relate to air quality, especially right now with the COVID environment that we're living in. We look at building capacity and our state-rated capacity compared to what our current enrollment is, the energy efficiency of the building, and then systemic replacement. So if we know that a roof only has a 20-year life cycle, we want to be pretty close to that 20-year replacement period before it starts to fail. I am very happy to entertain any questions that you have about the CIP process, about the project that we are requesting this year, or anything else.
I just have a question about the supplies. So I know we're not putting it out for bid, obviously, for a long time, but do most of our CIP projects do firm fixed?
It depends. For the most part, yes. For the most part, we are bidding each of those, and they are giving us that firm fixed price. We have heard of some issues where projects have been bid within the last year, and they just are not able to meet that anymore because of the rising cost of supplies. So there's been some renegotiation.
Okay. Now, what if it were the other way? Like, you know, if we're very fortunate that in 2023 our supplies have come down to a more manageable amount, we would be able to renegotiate the supply piece of it?
Probably not. Once it's a firm fixed, typically there is no renegotiation, and I think this is a situation that not many of us have experienced in the building industry, to have the cost double. And suppliers just not able to meet those prices that they had promised. If it were to go the other way, I don't believe we would see that cost savings, because typically they would hold us to those contracts.
Thank you.
I mean, I guess, and this is just one small problem to what we're going to have, but I see what you gave us in this book. You know, 3.2 million, and now we're at 4.2.
Correct.
And that's realistic. I understand, you know, lumber prices, I think, quadrupled. They've come back down. They say metal prices haven't, and there's supply issues everywhere. This is a problem. I also see, we just got discussing our new building. I mean, I think we all better take a deep breath and work closely with these commissioners, because projections are not there. I mean, just in the little bit I do, you call somebody up and they say we're booked for a year. And then they sit there and say, we're not going to give you a price. We'll tell you the price when we get closer. And I mean, that's on a small thing. And it's just, I think it's going to be a real challenge over the next couple years with as much, I don't know, how many square feet do we have in our school system?
About 1.4 million.
1.4 million. And the high school is?
Almost 200,000.
So, I mean, you know, and that's going to be $9 million. I mean, and that's just the roof.
That's half a building.
That's just the roof, and I will remind you that we also have other roofing projects that we've talked to you about in previous years that are slated to be done.
Aren't we doing out a split unit right now, Ken Island?
Yes,
and
yes.
I think what Helen's question was very, you know, but I must agree with your answer. They're not going to give us a guarantee, but they're certainly not going to cut it later. Unless they make it so high in the beginning. And I mean, we're going to have to go on with it, but it's.
Well, this at least gives us a chance to get the funding secured.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm not saying not to go with it. I mean, it's just the reality of things. When we start talking budgets, you know, and we're looking at 20,000 here and 20,000 there, and then we're looking at millions here. And you got to have it. You can't have a leaky roof. Back to the new building, and
Yes.
we must be concerned like the devil on the prices that's going to come in at.
Absolutely. And these are questions and thoughts that we're going to bring up with the design team, but also to involve the commissioners very early on.
Because some of the, we put these numbers at new building, what, $12-14 million?
Yes.
And that might not even be in the ballpark.
It might not be close by the time we get there next summer. We would hope that we would see some relief, but I don't think anyone knows. We've been hearing that for a year, that the summer we'll see prices start to go down. By the fall, prices are going to go down.
But just to
By
see,
winter, maybe it will happen. We just don't know.
But just to see this thing right here is opens your eyes pretty much.
I'll tell you, to put it in perspective, we did Centerville Middle School about 7-8 years ago,
2014.
and it was 1.2-1.3 million.
For the whole roof.
The whole roof.
What's that square? But not as much square footage.
No, it's not as much square footage, but look at the cost.
But you're talking $9 million.
Yeah.
When did we do the addition onto Queen Anne's County High School? I want to say that was 2013,
No,
earlier than that.
In the renovation?
Well, they did the renovation on the front.
It was 2001. I think it was
is
between
that
99 and
late? It was-
2001.
It's been 20 years.
Yeah.
About 20 years.
Beginning
Wow.
of the 2000s, yes.
So about the same time we opened up Kent Island High School.
Right after it, yeah.
Right after that.
Right
That's right.
after.
Wow. We're dating ourselves here. Cow. So and part of the roof was done then, correct? It was a partial?
Part of it was, yes.
Right. Okay. And we haven't done any patching or anything since then?
Well, there has been patching.
Okay.
There has been patching, and that's why we are through our warranty period. It's a necessity to.
And that's why it was a 20-year roof, and that's why this is happening now?
Yes, it's leaking.
The parapet walls that run along the gymnasium and the auditorium are terrible,
Okay.
terrible.
Mr. Smith, may I make a motion to approve the FY 2023 CIP request for submission to the state IAC for the Queen Anne's County High School roof replacement? Hopefully, the state will give us 4.1 million, local 4.9 million.
Second.
Motion is second. The only discussion I have is we want to make sure we stay close, like you said, contact Sid with Dr. Salins, with our commissioners. And I'm sure they're aware of it because they're doing projects all the time. But, I don't want them to say, well, you told us this and pull out a book that's a year old. Don't go down that. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays. Ayes have it. Okay.
Thank you.
Take this one?
My next one is the approval of the HP Electronics, Inc. to replace PA system in Queens County High School.
Yes, so our next request this evening, as you mentioned, is to approve the replacement of the PA system at Queen Anne's County High School. We suffered a lightning strike several weeks ago, and it's disabled some of the capabilities of the system. Right now, there is no life safety issue. However, the components are no longer good, and we are basically limping it along until we can get the new components in there. So the head end is the part that is essentially fried, and we need to replace that as soon as possible to get everything up and running. We have priced here new speakers that will be installed at a later time when students are not in the building. Right now, it's just about getting the full capability of it, and then we will take a look at whether or not speakers are required down the line. Again, we're at about a 20-year-old system, so therefore we have 20-year-old technology with the speakers and the wiring too. This is a cooperative purchasing contract with HP Electronics, and it will give us the new head end, admin, console, speakers, and wiring to replace the full system. We are hoping that we will see some insurance reimbursement for this. The insurance adjuster was there today taking a look at it. We don't know what those figures are yet, but that will certainly play into the budget source and how we are funding this. The fiscal dollar impact is not to exceed $156,000. It's about $90,000 not to exceed for the head end. So we will do that as the first course of action, and then it's about $63,000 for new speakers, and we will do that at a later time and make the decision if that's indeed necessary. So $156,000, we would not exceed that amount. We don't expect that we're going to come close to that. We just want to make sure that we have the full amount available to us if necessary.
Before I make a motion, Mr. Smith, I need to ask a clarification on this. So we have not had the insurance adjuster give us a price on what they'll give to us yet?
We do not. We do not have that number back.
When do we anticipate getting that?
There, thank you.
I have not spoken with him, so I don't know. I can get you an update tomorrow to see how quickly he's going to turn that around.
How imperative is it that we put this forward when we don't have an idea what we're going to be getting from MABE?
That's the whole reason for putting in that not to exceed. But yeah, so if you want to, it's just that right now with not having a PA system,
So
it's actually.
if you recall, last board meeting, their phone system went up.
Right.
So we are able, it was perfect storm. I mean, literally, the SRO was outside, and next thing you know, she's looking up, boom, lightning strikes the building. Mr. Schreck got us call, hey, I have no speaker system. I have no phone system. So, I mean, either way, we got to do it. I mean, it's a life, I wouldn't say it's life safety, but it's a major security issue.
It's a safety and security issue.
you know-
My next question is,
Good, yes, ma'am.
what did we have in any kind of capital reserves to help out with this if we don't get enough insurance money?
We could pull from the FY21 fund balance of a little, we'll have funds from that.
There's enough to cover this 156.
Yeah.
I don't want to rely on just insurance money if we can cover it and that we have money.
One-time emergency funds available,
Okay,
yes.
thank you. That's what I was getting to. I don't want to approve something if we don't have the funds to cover it, not relying on insurance.
Certainly.
Okay.
Are there any safety grant? I know you look at everything. Are there any safety grants because of what we, or
We had already applied for those and have those filled out, so
they could?
they're already utilized. Had this happened about 2 weeks before, yeah, we could have labeled that, put that into those grants, but
And we've asked the telephone system replacement for one of those grants. Is what we're
At 49,000 or whatever we
Yes.
approved last.
yes, sir.
Yes.
So this is not to exceed 156, and the speakers can be pulled out.
That's correct.
That's not but I mean, we're talking what, lights or whatever, flash, or if there's a fire or something. I mean, everything's working now.
It is working so that they can do an all-call and everyone in the building is able to hear the intercom system.
Okay.
Some of the capabilities to reach individual classrooms.
And I don't know that, I mean, we were just there the other day, and I know that he started his announcements and part ways through, they lost connection with the classroom. So I don't even know that we can securely say that that is accurate 100% of the time. I mean,
bell
he's very much,
schedule
very much struggling with trying to communicate within and around the building.
But I guess I can't say too much, I hope, but there is such a plan that everything can be taken care of safety-wise, either manually, physically, or something.
Yes,
With this stuff.
yes.
I mean, we got issue. We can get communications around that building. I know we need to do this. I'm not discussing it.
The fire
But-
alarm and those types of things still work, and, they've made it
We
work
could
at that
address any
school. It's
major
not the most ideal situation, but
And they use their walkie-talkies, and they do have them spaced out, and like administrators are in the hallways
Okay.
in certain locations throughout the building.
So we got a safety plan that's working, but we just.
How quickly can we get the header, the head end? How quickly can they get that?
It sounds like probably a turnaround of about 2 weeks. And it will be down for a couple of days, and we're going to try and get it replaced as quickly as possible if we can do it evening work. But it's typically about a week when they have to reconnect that.
Okay, so Mr. Smith, may I make a motion to approve the contract with HP Electronics to replace the PA system at Queen Anne's County Public High School? Fiscal impact dollar amount of $156,089.64. Budget source potentially MABE reimbursement. Otherwise, FY
21 emergency.
21 emergency funds. Thank you.
Second.
A motion second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Thank you.
non-public tuition student advancement for Pathway School.
Good evening again. For the record, my name is Jolene Smith, Supervisor of Special Education. I bring before you this evening a contract for tuition for the Pathways School for a non-public placement in the amount of $89,128.93 from the FY22 unrestricted operating budget. This is not an additional request. This was, we are kind of at the mercy of the non-public schools to secure those cost sheets, and this one came in late, so we weren't able to present it with the last ones. So it is not a new request in terms of an additional student.
If it had filed timely, we would have gotten it when we did the rest of them last time.
Correct.
This is one student.
This is.
That was going to be my question, is how many students? That's 90,000 for one student.
We've seen it vary from a lot higher than that. I mean, not that this is justified. I mean, it's justified, but this is very expensive when we talk about special ed.
Where are we in the budget as far as the special ed? We're already in negative?
Yeah.
Right, during the budget process last year, this was actually included, so the budget for non-public placement did increase to cover the anticipated cost.
And you already had this in there?
Correct.
Thank you.
And this also falls under that same area where part of it is reimbursed from MSDE as well.
What part would that be?
I think it comes out. I think it comes out to be
54%. And this is net of that though, right, Jolene?
Correct.
Yeah. This is just our share.
When you say that,
No, this is the total amount.
The total amount?
This is the total amount. So
so we're approving the total amount, but we'll be reimbursed.
around 54%.
Okay, so 50%. So basically, this cost us could only be half of this, really.
Correct.
45,000 or something. I mean, but we have to, it's a contract through us. That's why we're approving it at 89.
It's tuition. It's not really a contract,
Well.
but it's tuition, yes.
For sure.
Mr. Smith, may I make a motion to approve the non-public tuition for student placement at Pathways School, fiscal impact dollar amount of $89,128.93, budget source FY22 unrestricted operating budget.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion, a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Smith.
Okay. We have nobody else
Thanks, Jolie.
to sign up for public comment. Okay, future meetings and events. Our next work session will be October the 20th in this boardroom. Our next scheduled board meeting will be November the 3rd. And I was also informed that tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, they will have the Teacher of the Year or television special on MTV.
MPT.
MPT. Wait a second.
MPT.org.
Got that?
Wait a minute. The Teacher of the Year award night?
No.
The gala.
It could be, it's a outstanding dedication teachers, recognition of the Maryland Teachers of the Year.
So we have a finalist.
Yes.
Stephanie
Very
McKenzie.
exciting.
So there's 8 finalists, and tomorrow will be the announcement of who.
Okay. What time is that again?
MPT, it's at 8 o'clock, and you can go to mpt.org/TOY.
Very exciting.
And it's on our website, I'm assuming?
Yes, and we sent it out to everybody in the district, and we will send out a news blast again on Thursday as a special reminder. And we wish Stephanie the best of luck, and we're so excited to just be a part of that. It's amazing.
We've had several of our teachers be State Teachers of the Year. Amanda Enzer, Brad Engel. Who else?
Really exciting.
Yeah, so it's,
So we can't wait. I did get an opportunity, Mr. Pinder and myself, to stop in and see Mrs. McKenzie and wish her good luck. And she's very excited. She said she'll have her whole family there, and she's going to dress very nicely so that her husband can take pictures in case, we were teasing about that. So it's just a very exciting time for her and her family and her Queen Anne's County educational family as well, so
And
best of luck.
I don't see Atlantic Broadband on here, but I guess that's 504 for us, for Atlantic Broadband's Maryland Public TV.
I don't know the answer to that, but.
I think it's
I don't
channel
know. We don't have
504, but I'm not mistaken. But then it says MPT2, so I don't know if that's a different.
It's mpt.org /TOY for Teacher of Year.
Right, but I'm just looking, the show's going to air tomorrow night on television at 8 o'clock, right?
Right, correct.
And that's what I'm trying to figure out, if it's going to be on our local MTV channel, which is channel
Oh, I
504.
see what you're saying. Yeah, it's Maryland Public Television.
On DirecTV, Channel 22.
Yeah.
We're all going
Yeah,
to.
or you can watch it online.
Yeah, that's, I mean, you can watch it.
Yeah, I'm old fashioned. Sorry about that. Okay, now to get on with this show. Do I have any other board members have anything for the meeting, staff? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor say aye. Ayes have it.